Grace was obsessed with maintaining family appearances. When I discovered Jason tipping female streamers, instead of confronting him, she turned on me first. That streamer is his friend. Are you trying to destroy my family by saying such things? She then linked arms with Jason, declaring, "Trust is the foundation of marriage." Later, when Grace suffered domestic abuse, I called the police. She screamed at me, "Who asked you to meddle? I just fell." I stopped intervening. When she finally filed for divorce after enduring infidelity, she blamed me. "Emily made me do it. I never wanted this." Jason stabbed me to death in retaliation. Now Reborn. I stood outside Jason's study watching the familiar tipping interface glow on his screen. Last life. I'd rushed to tattle immediately. Grace had scowled then, not at her husband, but at me. "You just want to break up my family," she'd hissed before clinging to Jason's arm. "Darling, Emily saw your streamer donations and ran straight to me. But don't worry. I trust you completely." This time when Grace asked me to summon Jason for dinner, I smiled blandly. "He's in his study. You should fetch him yourself. I've got plans." I grabbed my purse as she entered the bedroom. Let her discover those $500 super chats glowing on his monitor. My parents asked about Grace during Sunday dinner. They'd never approved of hot-tempered Jason despite his six-figure tech salary. "Your sister still playing perfect housewife?" Mom sighed, remembering how Grace had gushed about her high school sweetheart years ago. I shrugged, savoring the roast chicken. Across town, Grace was probably rationalizing Jason's newest business, networking with gaming streamers. But this time, when the police eventually found my body in some alley, I'd make sure the security cameras showed exactly whose hand held the knife. My parents even threatened to disown Grace, but she resolutely married her childhood sweetheart, Jason Anderson. But of course, my parents couldn't truly abandon her. They'd send me to visit Grace periodically. In my past life, I wouldn't have bothered if not wanting to worry our parents. "They're doing great. No need to worry," I answered. Mom sighed. "How can we not? You know how Jason. But Grace loves him. And he adores her." I soothed her. "How many couples nowadays marry for love? She's lucky." Mom fretted. "Their neighbors say they argue constantly." "Really? They seemed perfectly happy during my visits," I said truthfully. Dad interrupted Mom's next concern. "Stop borrowing trouble. If she's unhappy, she'd come home." Mom finally relaxed. "True enough. You're overthinking because you're bored," I teased. Mom glared. "Bored? Between cooking and cleaning for you too?" I grinned. "That's why I booked you a luxury cruise, $30,000 per person. Non-refundable. 30,000? Mom raised her hand in mock fury. "Such extravagance." Dad chuckled. "Are girls being filial?" He grabbed his phone. "Oldly? Can't play mahjong Monday. Emily booked us a cruise, mere $30,000. Tell your daughter to." "Old Zhang? What's that?" "Oh yes. Our cruise. Just $30,000. Have your son." Mom and I exchanged amused glances. This second chance at life, doing what I choose, caring for my parents, felt precious. At the airport, Grace came to see them off. Mom fretted. "Call Emily if anything happens. Signal will be spotty at sea." Grace stiffened. "We're fine. Mom. Stop worrying." I squeezed Mom's hand. "Enjoy your trip. We'll handle things here." On the drive back, Grace asked abruptly, "Your videos make that much? 60,000 casually spent?" Since college, I'd built multiple social media series, recently exploding to 10 million followers. But I shrugged. Money comes and goes. Let them enjoy life while they can. Grace seemed distracted. "Need a ride home?" She hesitated. "Actually, let's visit our old house. In our childhood home." Grace wandered restlessly before blurting, "My friend's husband keeps donating to streamers. Even used her dowry. Can she recover the money?" I snorted. The friend who'd handed Jason her entire $100,000 dowry on their wedding night. Your friend's an idiot. Why give him control? The unspoken truth about her crumbling marriage hung between us like storm clouds. Grace pursed her lips and whispered. Just tell me if we can get that money back. Sure. You could make a scene, I corrected myself. Have your friend dispute it with the platform. Let them pressure that streamer to return the funds. Grace furrowed her brow. No other options? Nope. I leaned closer. What? Is your friend embarrassed? Since when is pride more important than cash? She stayed silent. For her, dignity always trumped everything. Even broke. She'd rather starve than lose face. After grocery shopping, we returned to Grace's apartment. The moment we opened the door, Jason's booming voice erupted from the bedroom. Damn it. Push. Are you blind? Grace shot me an apologetic glance before intervening. Jason. Emily's here, shit. Came the crash of headphones hitting the desk. His muffled voice followed. Bring me an ice-cold beer. She closed the bedroom door with forced cheerfulness. Men never grow up. Do they? The refrigerator light illuminated her resigned smile. Comes home from work every day and immediately starts gaming like a teenager. A man remains a boy at heart until the day he dies. I quipped. But hey. At least you two are happy together. Making this marriage work is our top priority. Grace affirmed. Disappearing into the kitchen with ingredients. When Jason emerged later wearing only basketball shorts, his pale torso jiggling with each step, I nearly choked on my water. My sister's eternal boy had developed a proper beer gut. Hey Em. He plopped down beside me reeking of sweat and cheap aftershave. Just as I braced for awkward small talk, he surprised me. You work online, know any streamers? Across the open kitchen, Grace's knife paused mid-chop. Her laughter sounded brittle as she called out. Emily. Want braised eggs with your rice? Absolutely. The kitchen door clicked shut with finality. Jason leaned closer, flashing his phone screen. Ever seen this girl? I shook my head. Planning to meet her? Nah. Asking for a buddy. He took a long swig, foam dripping onto his chest. The synchronized lies were almost poetic. Her friend. His buddy. During dinner, Grace piled golden brown eggs onto my plate. Eat up. Your skin and bones. Jason shoveled pork belly into his mouth like a starved bulldog. You two are couple goals. I sighed. All my married friends are constantly fighting. Why even bother getting hitched? Grace preened. 12 years together teaches you patience. Jason grunted through a mouthful of rice. Speaking of which, I casually dropped. About that refund? Turns out it's unrecoverable after all. The color drained from Grace's face. Emily. She barked. Jason's head snapped up. Grains of rice clinging to his stubble. The kitchen timer's ticking suddenly seemed very loud. Grace quickly forced a smile. Let's eat, she said before turning to me. Emily. Just stay out of this. It's not our family's business anyway. Okay. I won't get involved. I'd already said my piece. Whether Jason remained the golden boy she remembered depended entirely on him now. It was barely past 7 p.m. when I got home. A colleague sent over the latest script draft. But I ignored it. Video calling Grace instead. The first few attempts disconnected automatically. On my final try, she declined and texted, "What is it?" I grinned at my screen. Your deviled eggs were amazing. With Mom and Dad traveling. Can I come over for dinner tomorrow? Grace hesitated. I have plans. Rain check? The evasion confirmed my suspicions. What kind of plans? Just errands. Talk later. Switching to the script. I noted multiple scenes requiring over-the-top reactions, perfect for web series audiences. Days later at the night market. Mrs. Anderson yanked me behind a food stall. Your sister and Jason had a screaming match last Tuesday. The neighbor's whisper carried equal parts concern and gossip hunger. He's been showering some cam girl with gifts. I wanted to call the cops but Grace claimed she tripped onto his fists. More like, I widened my eyes dramatically. They're childhood sweethearts. Jason's getting promoted soon? Promotion? Pa. Mrs. Anderson rolled her eyes. That boy's always been trouble. Last month I saw him, she caught herself. Suddenly suspicious. You're her sister. Do something before he kills her. Sighing. I shook my head. Grace hates people meddling. She's too proud. Pride? More like stupidity. The neighbor stormed off. Rhinestone sandals clacking against pavement. Good. Fewer witnesses made everything simpler. In my previous life, warning Grace about Jason's indiscretions only made him retaliate. This time? Let her reap what she sowed. 2 weeks later, the yellowing bruise near Grace's temple had faded to mint green. Walked into a door. She mumbled, handing me a peach. When are Mom and Dad back? Their voicemails full. Added more travel funds. Might extend their Mediterranean cruise. I bit into the fruit. Juice dripping down my wrist. Why? Need something? Just curious. Her smile strained at the edges. Your drama's trending everywhere. The earnings must be insane. Split 12 ways after production costs. I licked sticky fingers. Why? Want to join? Grace perked up. I could play the elegant aunt or... God no. I laughed. You're practically royalty now. Jason's promotion makes you a CEO's wife. Much classier than being some web series clown. Her shoulders squared at the reminder. The board confirmed it yesterday. The triumph in her voice mirrored our teenage years when Jason aced his SATs. Lucky you. I gushed. Lounging in penthouse luxury while I hustle for scraps. Beaming. Grace asked about dinner preferences. My seafood tower request made her flinch. What's wrong? I pressed before she could invent excuses. Jason's salary should cover lobster thermidor. Unless, I gasped theatrically. Is he stingy with family? Don't be ridiculous. She grabbed her purse. I'll get the jumbo prawns now. The door slammed. Through the kitchen window. I watched Grace check her empty wallet 3 times before driving off. My phone buzzed another script revision request. I deleted it unread. Tonight's performance required full attention. She took her phone outside. Probably to call Jason and ask for money. When Jason came home from work, instead of rushing to play games, he asked Grace, I give you so much allowance every month. How did you spend it all so quickly? I immediately stood up. Is this a bad time? Maybe I should go. Grace grabbed my arm. Don't be ridiculous. Dinner's almost ready. Then dragged Jason into the kitchen. The range had roared too loudly for me to hear their argument. Though I knew Grace was demanding Jason's save face. That delicious meal would cost her dearly later. True enough. They fought again after I left. Sister Wang mentioned it days later when I bumped into her at the mall. Not to meddle. But those two argue like cats and dogs. Won't last the year. I handed her a boba tea. Fighting's their love language. Childhood sweethearts don't split easily. She sipped her drink, eyeing me like I'd lost my mind before walking away. Grace started venting to me constantly. Jason's getting promoted but giving me less household money. Can't even buy mascara now. Tell me, Emily, am I just his free maid? I gasped dramatically. How could you say that? You'll be a manager's wife. That's basically royalty. She almost smiled. Still. I'm broke. Why need cash when you've got love? Didn't you say marriage is about teamwork? Her eyes narrowed. You're supposed to take my side. Coldness seeped into my veins. Last lifetime I'd coddled her, until she'd watched Jason break my fingers with a hammer. That evening at dinner, I innocently mentioned Jason. Grace said she's short on funds, Emily. Grace shrieked. I blinked. What? You complained he's stingy. Just helping. Jason smiled, handing her a black card. Should have told me. Sweetheart. I cooed. See how he spoils you? Some people just can't appreciate blessings. Next morning, Grace called livid. Why humiliate me? Humiliate? I repeated your exact words to your beloved childhood sweetheart. The title tasted like bile. She'd definitely gotten slapped last night, and that card would vanish by noon. At my photo shoot, I hummed while reviewing the private detective's new evidence, Jason checking into a hotel with that Twitch streamer. Reborn with perfect timing. I'd hired the PI immediately. Let Grace keep playing martyr, I'd enjoy front row seats to their collapse. It was time to send those photos to Grace anonymously. I kept wondering how Grace would react when she saw them. The next day, she called me while I was busy on set and couldn't answer. When I returned home early around 5 p.m., I found Grace waiting. Her face was bruised and swollen. Eyes bloodshot from crying, all traces of her usual composure gone. I gasped. What happened? Did you fall? Does this look like a fall? Grace pointed at her injuries. Choking out. Jason did this. I shook my head. Impossible. Jason's your childhood sweetheart. He adores you. He's cheating. She broke down again. I caught him and he attacked me. Look, she tried lifting her shirt. I grabbed her wrist. Stop. You'd hate people seeing you like this. You're the strongest person I know. Grace. She wiped her tears desperately. You're my sister. Emily. You won't judge me. Please help. With our parents traveling. You're all I have. Of course I'll help. I squeezed her hand. Rest in my room. I'll make us dinner. While grocery shopping, I called Jason. Grace is at my place. Come talk this out. You've been together since high school, surely you can fix things? Fine. He growled. Returning home, I heard their shouting through the door. You hit me again? In my own sister's house? Grace screamed hysterically. I even have photos. You're spying on me? Jason roared. A loud slap echoed. That slut sent them. Grace sobbed. Why aren't hitting her instead? She thought the mistress sent the photos. Not realizing her devoted husband would never harm his precious affair. Pathetic. I entered calmly. Grace lunged at me. Emily. He hit me for that homewrecker. You have to. Meeting her desperate gaze. I knew she wanted me to suggest divorce. After ruining my life last time, she'd try again. I shoved her toward Jason. Stop embarrassing yourself. Jason would never cheat. You provoked him with your paranoia. I sighed dramatically. Men lose temper sometimes. You'd divorce over this? Emily Clark. Grace stomped. I'm your sister. And Jason's family too. I turned to him. Right? Stunned by my support. Jason seized Grace's wrist. You're coming home. He told me. Don't worry. I'll discipline her properly. At the doorway, I whispered. She's still my sister. Go easy. Okay? Grace stared in silent betrayal as I closed the door on her screams. I know what I'm doing. Jason nodded. Yanking Grace out. I shut the door before letting myself smile. I hadn't prepared dinner for them anyway. After making myself a simple meal, I spent the evening workshopping scripts with colleagues. The phone rang past midnight. Mom's caller ID told me everything. Your sister's been blowing up our phones. Mom's panicked voice came through. We missed her calls and now her phone's off. What's happening? I soothed her first. Just marital squabbles with Jason. I've got this handled. Enjoy your cruise. My chest tightened remembering how my death had shattered them last lifetime. Now it was Grace's turn. Our parents were fated to keep only one daughter. But I wouldn't show mercy for their sake. Grace certainly hadn't. They were crossing the Pacific now, no turning the ship around. I had until their return to end this. Taking personal days. I anticipated Grace's next move. She came masked in sunglasses, clad 2 days later. Hysterical tears streaking her swollen face. The removal of her disguise revealed purple eye sockets, split lips, and a bald patch where hair had been torn out. Handing her tissues, I echoed her own words back. Remember when Mom warned Jason had violent tendencies? You said wife beating's normal if the man loves you. Shouldn't you endure it then? That's not what I meant. She spluttered. No? Abuse is fine for other women but not my precious sister? My innocent shrug infuriated her further. How would I know? I've never even dated. She thrust her phone at me. Proof of Jason's affairs. Help me sue him. Take everything he owns through divorce and assault charges. Same old trap. I bit my lip nervously. But I'm not the injured party here. You're my sister. You have to help or he'll kill me. Her threat hung between us. No sister meant no past betrayal. No past betrayal meant I wouldn't be dead. Clutching a pillow, I whispered tremulously, what if Jason hurts me too? He respects you. She insisted. Just talk to him. My bitter laugh surprised her. He didn't spare you when I asked him to. Why would he listen now? Realizing my reluctance, she snarled, fine. I'll tell Jason you're keeping me from returning. That you want our divorce. The slap came unbidden. She lunged weakly. Battered body no match for mine. Shoving her away, I grabbed my purse. You started this. Now I'll go reason with your beloved husband. Of course I wasn't going to find Jason. I went to my coworker Shinshin instead. I didn't hide it. When Shinshin asked, Grace cheated on you. Why won't you divorce her? I answered plainly. He's up for a promotion. A messy divorce would ruin his public image. I shut off my phone as I spoke. Grace, unable to reach me, went berserk searching everywhere, even showing up at my studio. Shinshin finally managed to send her away before calling me. She's gone. Cancel today's shoot. Do filler content and reassure the fans during the live stream? I instructed. The moment I hung up, my phone rang again. Mom's tearful accusation sliced through. How could you keep Grace's situation from us? My stomach dropped. Had Grace contacted our parents? Where are you? I demanded urgently. We're disembarking early. Mom choked out. Taking the first flight home. Grace had given up on manipulating me and sicked our parents on Jason instead. If Jason laid hands on them. Rage shook my entire body. But how could I explain this to Mom and Dad? Would they even believe me? All I managed was, text me before boarding. Rushing home, I found Grace sprawled on the couch watching TV. Why bother coming back? She sneered. Should have kept hiding. I'd prepared for this. When my parents texted their flight details, I timed everything, their landing, estimated arrival. I had Shinshin stationed downstairs to alert me when they approached. At her message, I pounced. Our second-floor apartment's thin walls carried my shout perfectly. You sent me to Jason because you're too cowardly to face him yourself. Using me as your human shield. Grace gave me that deranged smirk. So what? You're my sister. It's your duty. You dragged Mom and Dad into this? My voice cracked. Trying to get them killed? They'd die for me gladly. She jabbed a finger skyward like some wronged martyr. If they'd stopped me marrying Jason years ago? They're your parents. What if Jason? Better them than me. Her laughter turned shrill. At least I'm young enough to spare them a child's funeral. That's filial enough. The door swung open. Mom stood frozen. Devastation etching deeper lines into her face. Dad stormed past her. His open-handed slap cracking across Grace's cheek. You're dead to us. Get out. I spent hours calming them. Mom kept dissolving into tears while Dad smoked in silence. Shinshin tailed Grace to a hotel instead of home. Information I promptly leaked to Jason. True to form, he dragged her back. Probably beating her senseless right now. My parents stirred despite their hurt. That parental instinct overriding logic. I blocked their path. Let her taste real consequences. When she crawls back apologizing, we'll see. But what if Jason? Mom broke off. Fresh sobs erupting. I stared at my shaking hands. She made her bed. Mom? Dad? You can't keep spoiling her like this. My father wholeheartedly agreed. You're absolutely right. Emily. Grace has been coddled by us for too long. She needs to face reality. My mother ultimately didn't go to Grace. I breathed a small sigh of relief. But we couldn't just wait around. So I kept the private investigator trailing Jason. All the videos and photos we obtained were anonymously sent to Grace. I even spread rumors in their neighborhood that Jason planned to divorce Grace after his promotion and make her leave penniless. Grace's last shred of dignity was trampled into the dirt. She finally lived up to my expectations and took matters into her own hands. On the day of Jason's promotion ceremony, Grace unfurled a massive banner at his company entrance declaring, "Jason Anderson, modern-day Benedict Arnold." She shouted through a megaphone, "Jason, you shameless cheat." Rapid-firing every detail of his live-streamer donations and affairs to the growing crowd. Soon waves of spectators surrounded the building. Jason stormed out. Grace hurled printed photos at him, "Die. You scumbag." Enraged, Jason slapped her, grabbing her hair to drag her into his car. I immediately followed in my vehicle. When they stopped at Grace's apartment complex, I waited in my car watching Jason haul her upstairs. Hours later, Mom called, "Emily. Something happened to Grace. We're heading over now." My pulse raced, but I stayed put until my parents arrived. The ambulance beat us there, unloading 2 stretchers, Grace and Jason. I drove my distraught parents to the hospital where police already waited. We learned the full story through their investigation. After his ruined promotion, Jason had beaten Grace savagely. She fought back in self-defense, fatally wounding him. An officer confirmed Jason's death as we identified ourselves. Grace remained in critical surgery. Mom collapsed from grief while Dad aged a decade before my eyes. Now I understood how my parents must have reacted finding my corpse in that previous life. I'm sorry, Mom and Dad, for making you relive this agony. But I had no choice. Grace woke on her 3rd hospital day. Her catastrophic injuries, blindness, shattered right arm, irreversible spinal damage condemning her to a wheelchair, spared her legal consequences. But she alternated between violent outbursts and catatonia, requiring constant sedation. After stabilizing my parents, I visited her. Her remaining eye burned with venom. "My life's destroyed. Happy now? What did you expect? That I'd confront Jason instead? Let him cripple or kill me while you played the grieving saint." She trembled with impotent rage. "I'll make you pay for this. I've arranged your transfer to a care facility. Don't worry, I'm covering everything." I exited to her screaming curses as nurses administered another sedative. 1 month later, I alone oversaw Grace's discharge to the nursing home. She shrieked when realizing our parents weren't present. Where are Mom and Dad? Their own daughter abandoned? The soundproof doors swallowed her cries as I walked away. Then why did you have me? If they brought me into this world, they have to take responsibility. I shook my head, disgusted as I reminded her. Grace, you look absolutely deranged right now. So undignified. You should maintain some decorum here, even in the sanitarium. I smirked, waving dismissively. Grace lunged at me in fury, only to tumble pathetically from her wheelchair and crawl across the floor. I stepped back leisurely. "I'll make arrangements with the staff to ensure you receive thorough care." Her enraged screams still echoed as I walked down the long corridor. After wiring a substantial payment to the facility, I returned home. I told Mom and Dad to focus on their health, promising we'd visit Grace when she stabilized. That visit never happened. Her doctors adjusted the sedatives. She's calmer now, though a bit vacant, I explained weeks later, stirring honey into Dad's tea. Honestly, this is for the best. Seeing her like that would only hurt you more. I knew Grace would remain their open wound, much like my own death had haunted them in that other lifetime. But now I stood as their living daughter, determined to heal them through countless family dinners and Sunday brunches. As for Grace, the chemical haze became her permanent state. Those potent tranquilizers ravaged both mind and body, a fitting consequence. My visits dwindled from monthly to quarterly, then ceased entirely when Mom discovered watercolor painting and Dad took up golf. My web series exploded in popularity, spawning 3 successful spin-offs. The revenue stream allowed me to retire my parents early. They chose Norway for their first overseas trip. Their laughter light as I hugged them at the departure gate. "Take lots of photos," I called out, watching them disappear through security. This timeline held such different warmth, decades of shared Christmases awaiting us. My production company thriving. And Grace's distant screams finally silenced. The sanitarium updates grew sporadic. Then stopped. Mom sometimes paused while arranging peonies, her gaze drifting. But Dad would squeeze her shoulder. And they'd resume discussing their next cruise itinerary. Healing isn't linear. But we've all learned to outwalk the shadows.